Good morning, everyone. I am Brigadier J. Kameshwar Rao, real estate expert. I am also independent director and board of directors of a public limited company. Today, I shall be covering on the report given by the Knight Frank and CII, the real estate and Indian economy by 2034. Basically, they have given information about the real estate up to 2034, means from now on a next decade, how the real estate will be progressing in India. Generally, I am covering only Hyderabad. Today, I decided to cover the entire India, how next 10 years would be. Real estate in India is presently contributing 7.3% of the GDP. It will increase by 10.5% by 2034. And as on today, $482 billion is the real estate in India. It will go to $1.5 trillion. Out of that, the residential will be $980 billion and $125 billion will be the office space. Various factors influencing the growth of the real estate in India are the growing young population and bolstered domestic manufacturing, infrastructure development, urban expansion, support to policy measures, and rapid technological advancements and shifting demographics. How will be the demand of housing by 2034? By 2034, the total requirement of houses will be 78 million houses, which is very big. At the time, the urbanization in India will be 42.5%. Presently, urbanization in India is 39%. If you go to globally, Japan has about 84%, 74% in USA, and 63% in China. These figures are varying. When the urbanization grows, the requirement of houses also will grow. These houses will be approximately 78 million numbers, which will be required in next decade. And there will be change of population demography. How it will change? The HNIs will grow present 3% to 9%. And similarly, upper middle class will grow from 43.5% to 50.1%. Whereas the lower middle class and below poverty line, the percentage will be going down, which is good for the economy. That is, lower middle class will be going down from 34.2% to 31.1%. Whereas the below poverty line, it is moving from 14.8% to 9.3%, which is very good for the country. At the same time, what are the implications of this? The implication is the luxury housing will have a greater demand, and upper middle class, the houses between 1 crore to 3 crores will have a greater demand during this period. Coming to commercial real estate, that is, commercial real estate has three components. One is retail, office space, and you can also consider the warehousing. Some places warehousing is taken separately, industrial and warehousing is separate. Now we will discuss about the commercial real estate. By 2034, it will grow to 2.7 billion square feet. Do you know what was there in 2008? It is about 278 million square feet. Presently, 2023, 900 million square feet is there. It will go to 3 times, that is 2.7 billion square feet. You can imagine the office space demand. What are the implications of this? When the office space demand grows 3 times, from 900 million to 2.7 billion square feet, the demand for the houses also will go 3 times, because the office space creates the jobs. When the jobs are created, there is a requirement of housing. When the housing demand peaks, there is a requirement of residential units. Once this demand grows exponentially like this, the demand for the real estate will be high and prices will also go up drastically in next 10 years. Which are the major contributing factors for these office demand? Major contributing factor is the GCC. GCC stands for the Global Capability Centers. What does it mean? Earlier, India used to act as a back office for the many companies in US and the Europe countries. Today, it is not so. You can see the Deloitte, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Apple, Google, you name any company, they have a global capability center in India. 45% of the global capability centers are located in India. 45% of the entire world are located in India. Let us see what are these numbers. By 2030, these global capability centers will go to 2400 and 2034 it will go to 2880, thus increasing the demand for the office space and in turn for the residential space. The warehousing also plays a major role because logistics is the major component for the Indian economy. Presently, logistic cost is 18% for the transportation itself. Transportation and placing them in various places, storages and everything. If Indian government is trying to reduce this cost to 6%. If to reduce this, there is a large number of logistic warehouses, that is warehouses fully automated are required in India. 75 million tons of food is wasted every year in India. To prevent this, there is a cold storage warehouses are required. What is the position of the warehousing in India? Let us see. India warehousing market is projected to experience a potential demand of 111 million square feet by 2034, an increase of 42 million square feet over the next decade. This sector has the potential to generate a revenue of $8.9 billion during the upcoming decade. With this, what are the key recommendations of the Knight Frank and CII to the government? The government has to take various measures like capitalize on manpower. We are saying that demography is advantageous to us, provided this demography, young demography is utilized properly. How it can be done? Let us discuss. The key recommendations are capitalize on manpower. As I told earlier, it is very important to capitalize on the demography available to us, especially the young demography. India's real estate sector is poised for significant growth, demanding a skilled workforce to enable and enhance sector efficiency. With 63% of the population in the working age category, there is abundant potential to enhance productivity. However, the sector faces a shortage of skilled workers despite employing 70 million people, consulting 18% of the workforce. By 2030, the construction sector is expected to contribute $1 trillion to the economy, $7 trillion of output, necessitating an increase in employment to 100 million, mainly minimally skilled workers. Nonetheless, the evolving technological landscape highlights the need for skilled labor in real estate, presenting growth opportunities. This skill gap can be achieved through strengthening of training modules in the institute as per industry requirements, collaboration between academic institutions and private employers, encourage coursework and certification with professional bodies. Next important factor is urban housing requirement. India's housing deficit, exacerbated by rapid urbanization, disproportionately affects lower income groups, hindering affordable options. Escalating property prices and borrowing costs pose barriers to home ownership, notably for economically weaker sections. While initiatives like PMAY target this issue, a holistic policy approach is essential. Exorbitant land prices further deter developers from affordable ventures. Recent demand side measures such as stamp duty reductions during COVID 19 boosted home sales. Similarly, supply side actions like reduced construction premiums in Maharashtra increased residential supply. Long term implementation of such measures is vital to address the country's housing shortage and its extensive sectorial connections. Additional strategies for affordable housing include rationalization of stamp duties, provision of interest rate subsidies, tapping into the unused PSU lands. Coming to adoption of technologies. Technological advancements have revolutionized the real estate sector, expediting processes like property search and transactions. The emergence of PropTech has strengthened these operations, integrating advanced technologies such as AI, ML, IoT, and BIM. Despite innovations like 3D printing in construction technology, adoption in India remains nascent. To scale up usage, awareness and training are crucial. Globally, the IT sector, currently valued at $9 trillion, is projected to reach $20 trillion by 2034, fostering innovation. With increasing internet penetration, these technologies will propel India's real estate industry towards its growth objectives effectively. Focus on expansion of sustainable and green buildings. During the 2021 United Nations Climate Change Conference or COP26 held at Glasgow, the Indian government pledged to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2070. This would mean the policymakers in India would actively implement a framework to countervail carbon emissions. To achieve such an ambitious target, it is required that all sectors in India collectively contribute to reducing their carbon emissions. The real estate sector, which is poised to grow rapidly and is one of the key drivers of the economy, accounts for 40% of all emissions globally. According to the World Economic Forum, 40% of global energy and 40% of all the raw materials are used by the real estate sector. To collectively achieve the government net zero target, a reduction of the carbon footprint by the real estate sector will play a prominent role. The industry is currently at the early stage of adopting sustainable practices through strategies such as adoption of India Green Building Council norms, which aim to achieve net zero carbon buildings by 2050. If these factors are considered by the state and central governments and take prominent measures, the Indian real estate sector is going to do exceedingly well by 2034. Knight Frank also projected that by 2047, that is from 100 years from the independence, it will go to $36.7 trillion. Similarly, the EY also projected Indian GDP to $26 trillion by 2047.